Hello everybody, this is the Golden Lock Picker and I'm back at you here with another lock and device today. What I have for you guys today is a Brinks Deadbolt, and normally you'd find this in a door with a rim around it like this. I got this from my big box store in my area here, and normally what you'd see is that rim around it and then a thumb turner on the other side. You can see there's this little bar here. It actually operates independent of the cylinder, so the thumb turner can turn it over without turning the cylinder, but also the key can turn this as well. So it kind of has two functions there, but what that does when that bar is actually inserted here and it gets turned over, it extends this bolt into the door or latch, and then it basically prevents you from opening the door. So that's kind of how a deadbolt works. So we'll go ahead and show you the key here. It's a 5-pin core, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And yes, Brinks did do us the favor of printing the actual bitting on the key. If you happen to have a Brinks Deadbolt or a house key, and it has that number on it, you should cover it up. Or ideally, you should actually have that key made a copy of that doesn't have the numbers on it, and then hide this away for safekeeping. So we'll go ahead and get picking through this. We're actually going to do a little bit of hybrid picking today, hopefully, if things work out. We'll be using the aggressive cycloid in 23,000s from the starter set from Jimmy Long's, and the short flat hook in 23,000s from the starter set. I will be using a bottom of the keyway, top of the keyway turner in 50,000s though, just to fit in this keyway a little better, because this is actually a fairly wide open keyway, and you'll find that with a lot of North American cheaper deadbolts. They'll be, or house keys, their cylinders are going to be very wide open like this. So we'll go ahead and try to rake through this here until we get to a full set. And just kind of see what we can get here. Try a little bit of that. There we go. And as you can see, we kind of rolled over just a touch. So what we're going to do now that we're rolled over is we're going to switch to our single pin. And we're going to go through. And now we're spool hunting, because that false set that you find like that is usually when a lock has, looks like we're getting counter rotation on 2. A lock has rolled into a false set from the pins, and there we go. I already got this open. So that is a pretty short pick through. Obviously we did hybrid picking, but it shows you just how effective sometimes those methods can be. And I know that Lock Pickers United really tries to push or emphasize that single pin picking, but I wanted to show you this because I think it's relevant for those of you who may have Brinks locks, just how vulnerable a lock can be, even if it does have a couple of security pins. And I don't fault Brinks for this, because there's actually higher security locks out there that are also vulnerable to these kinds of things, where you can sort of quickly speed through and get to a false set and then pick through it. I think one of the reasons that this one's probably fell over so quick is, my guess is either there's only one spool in this lock, I'm trying to remember, or if there is 2, the second spool didn't come into play because it's probably on one of these lower cuts right here. But there's definitely no way that there was all spool pins, because we didn't fall straight over into a false set right away. But there was definitely some sort of a spool on there, and I bet it's probably on 2 there. So let's go ahead and actually take this apart. You know, this is a short video because of the pick through, so let's go ahead and gut this guy and let's go through that. So to gut these, you'll notice that there's actually like a retaining pin right here. That's this little pin here. And normally there's actually a tool for that. I don't have that yet, but hopefully in the future I will. But what we'll do is just sort of use a pick to try to keep that compressed, and then we'll just keep spinning it until we get that rolled over past the depth of that particular lock. And you got to be careful not to turn that 180 like I just did there. You don't want to dump pins into the cylinder. Make sure we got our key inserted there. And then we'll depress that pin. We'll go ahead and keep spinning this thing. And I think what we should see is, there we go. We finally got that removed. And you can see that's kind of how that works, is that bar engages this latch, but the latch can operate independent of the lock. There we go. So I'll go ahead and set that aside. And I'm actually gonna, let me grab a tweezer here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that retaining pin out of the back. We'll set that guy off over to here. Don't worry, I will be providing a close-up of the pinning when we get through this here. Go ahead and move our Jimmy Lock stickers and tools up high. And I'm gonna need a follower. Let's see. All right, so I've got my follower here. This is from 44 Delta, if you're interested. And woo, interesting. This lock has some pins or some chambers off to the side here. And I believe what that is normally that would be for like a construction lock. Interesting, but apparently they use that core in this same one. So we'll go ahead and take this guy, and I want to set this off to the side here. So what I'm going to do is I'll actually take, will that fit? Yeah, it will. Perfect. Another device from 44 Delta, and we'll set that in there, which holds that while we actually go through and gut this lock. So we'll go ahead and start working through this. And here's pin number 1. And it looks like it's just a standard pin, nothing special there. And standard spring, and yes, we do have a spool in number 2, although that one is brass. So my guess is this other one that we saw here in the front, it's a different material, it's steel. That's probably for anti-drill features. At least that's my hope. Why they did that. Okay, and we have another pin. Looks like this one is brass as well. And I'm not 100% sure, but there may actually be like a bevel to that. So we'll take a look at that when we get through all of these. Got another click here, and we have another spool. That's funny. I don't recall having to pick that guy. At least not, I never got counter rotation on him. So we'll take a look at that. And here's our last one. There we go. He kind of shot out another brass pin. And just another standard spring. So not a whole lot there. That's that. That's our what was up in the Bible of that deadbolt. And I'm going to go ahead and take this, and we'll just dump these one by one out of here. Wow, these are actually beveled on both sides. That is really unusual. Okay. All right, there's our pin number 3. I'm sorry, that was pin 2. This is pin number 3. Okay, pin number 4. And then pin number 5. This is my first time getting this lock. Well, that is quite interesting. Let me just sort of bring all of these pins down together for presentation. And I'll go ahead and grab the key out of the cylinder. Really nice handy tools here from 44 Delta. So first I'll let you look at the cylinder there, and it definitely does look like there's some sort of like spots there, so you could put some sort of like construction retaining pins or something in there. But the cylinder is actually beveled. If you guys can see that, right where the pins go, the ones towards the back here, I'll rotate it around. They are beveled. So that would actually make it easier to pick to some degree. I don't see any counter milling. And what that would be like notches that look like serrations inside of there. I don't see any of that. And let me just check the Bible here. Let's take a look in there. I'm not seeing anything of that nature either. Although what's weird is there's splices between each cylinder there. So that's a little strange. I imagine that that must be for assembly reasons that it's like that. That's strange. Oh, and there was a spring that just came out from the back of the cylinder. That was for the plug or the pin at the end there. So we'll go ahead and grab that guy, turn that around. I'll bring this up for you guys to see. So again, the beveled edges right here. And it looks like we have an anti-drill pin, security pin in 1, a serrated, or sorry, not serrated, a spool in pin number 2, standard in 3, a spool in 4, and a standard in 5. Pin number 4, I don't remember having to pick that for counter rotation. Let's take a look at that key. I think that is because of, turn it around here because this is the orientation of the pinning. It definitely does look like pin number 4 was such a low cut, or such a deep cut, that the spool never even came into play. Literally, it was so low down that it didn't even matter that there was a spool there. So great job, Brinks, on choosing to put a spool with such a deep cut that basically made the security pin irrelevant. So hope you guys enjoyed that. That's the Brinks Deadbolt from big box stores, and I think this is currently ranked an orange belt level lock on Lock Pickers United. Definitely wouldn't recommend this for your home. There's probably some better choices for deadbolts for security, but I hope you guys enjoyed this pick through. And go ahead and leave a like if you found this video helpful, or comment down below. And if you guys are enjoying the content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. I'm out.